Strap in and grab your popcorn. Today's video is going to be a deep dive into one of the most anticipated superhero films of the decade, James Gunn's Superman. We'll explore everything from box office projections and critical reception to franchise potential and the film's importance within the new DC universe. This is more than just another reboot, it could be the rebirth of DC's most iconic hero. Superman is being written and directed by James Gunn, best known for the Suicide Squad and the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, and it marks the first feature film from the newly restructured DC Studios, following promising showings like The Penguin and Creatures Commandos. Future titles like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and Clayface are already in development, while Peacemaker Season 2 is slated for an August release date. The film is slated for release on July 11, 2025, starring David Corenswet as Superman, alongside Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, and Isabella Merced. The score will be composed by John Murphy and David Fleming, and the runtime is set at 120 minutes, matching the length of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Predicting the box office for Superman is both simple and complicated. James Gunn has directed 4 major superhero films to date, excluding Superman, 3 of which, the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, were major box office successes, thanks in part to the MCU's brand power. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 from 2014 made $773 million on a $196 million budget. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 from 2017 made $869 million on a $200 million budget. And Guardians of the Galaxy 3 from 2023 made $845 million on a $250 million budget. The outlier is the Suicide Squad from 2021, which grossed just $168 million on a $185 million budget. But that performance came under unique challenges, pandemic-era theater closure and a simultaneous HBO Max release. It also followed a string of DCEU underperformances like Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 1984. We also can't ignore the shadow of the Suicide Squad from 2016, which was a commercial hit at $794 million but critically panned, sitting at 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. The film became infamous for studio interference and incoherent storytelling, a cautionary tale for future DC releases. Before estimating Superman's box office, let's consider the performances of previous Superman films. Richard Donner's Superman the Movie from 1978 made $300 million at the box office, a major success for its time. Its sequel, Superman 2 from 1980s, made $216 million. After a 19-year hiatus, Superman Returns from 2006 by Bryan Singer made $391 million at the box office. It was praised for its style, but it was considered financially underwhelming, even if it was the 9th highest grossing movie of that year. Zack Snyder's Man of Steel from 2013 made $670 million at the box office, commercially solid, but received mixed critical reception. Like Superman Returns, Man of Steel was the 9th highest grossing movie of that year. Now in 2025, we are looking at the first solo Superman movie in over 12 years. Historically, every time Superman has returned to theaters after a long gap, he has succeeded financially. Superman Returns after 19 years, and Man of Steel after 7. Given the brand power of Superman and James Gunn's proven track record, a fair box office estimate would be $760 to $780 million globally. That may seem optimistic, but it's in line with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, a film that had no franchise foundation outside the MCU. Gunn now has more name recognition and Superman has broader international appeal. Matt Reeves' The Batman was the first Batman solo movie in over 10 years, and it made $772 million at the box office. I have seen 14,605 possible outcomes, and none of them does Superman not equal it or surpass it. Even with Marvel's Fantastic Four releasing just 2 weeks later, Superman and Gunn are strong enough draws to thrive. My only concern is that the last movie DC released was Joker Folie à Deux, which completely flopped. Why critics might love it. James Gunn's track record. Every one of Gunn's superhero films has earned at least 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 scored 92%, The Suicide Squad reached 90%, and Guardians Volume 3 held an audience score of 94%. Character depth. Gunn excels at making audiences care about unlikely or obscure characters. He turned Polka Dot Man, Bloodsport, and Peacemaker into fan favorites. If he can do that, imagine what he can do with Superman. Tone shift. After the grim, divisive Snyder-era Superman, critics may embrace a version of Clark Kent that is more optimistic, compassionate, and comic accurate. Standalone world building. Gunn knows how to organically expand a universe without sacrificing story. The Guardians movies contributed to the MCU while still functioning independently, a balance critics often praise. Music and visual identity. Gunn's films are known for their strong musical choices. If Superman has a signature sound, as Guardians of the Galaxy and Peacemaker did, it may become a defining element of the film's style. What could hold it back? Overloaded setup. If the film spends too much time setting up the Authority, Supergirl, or other future DCU projects, critics may say it prioritizes universe building over story. Tone mismatch. Gunn's trademark humor works for irreverent characters like Star-Lord or Peacemaker. With Superman, audiences may expect a more restrained, sincere tone. A quippy Superman could alienate both fans and critics. Underdeveloped villains. Guardians Volume 1 was widely criticized for its one-note villain. If Lex Luthor or any antagonist in Superman feels generic, it could drag down the reception. Narrative overload. If the movie juggles too many subplots or characters without cohesion, it may feel disjointed. James Gunn's Superman has the potential to be both a critical and commercial success. With smart pacing, emotional depth, and respectful world building, it could rejuvenate the character and kick off the DCU on solid ground. My projected critical score for Rotten Tomatoes critics score would be an 82 to an 86, with the Rotten Tomatoes audience score being between 88 and 92, and I predict the cinema score to be A, matching Gunn's Guardians trilogy. Much like Iron Man served as the foundational entry for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, James Gunn's Superman is positioned to launch the new DC Universe. As the opening chapter of Gods and Monsters, the film is expected to establish a cohesive tone that balances grounded, character-driven storytelling with broader cosmic and occult elements. A critical milestone for Warner Bros. DCU strategy. The success of Superman is pivotal to Warner Bros. Discovery's long-term plans for the DCU. Both financial performance and critical reception will significantly influence the studio's confidence in future entries. Following a string of underperforming DCU films, such as The Flash and Black Adam, this reboot must make a strong impression. Failure to resonate with audiences could jeopardize the DCU's trajectory before it fully begins, laying the groundwork for future projects. The film is already planting seeds for broader universe expansion. The engineer, a member of the Authority, appears in the film, directly setting up that upcoming team-based feature. Guy Gardner, portrayed by Nathan Fillion, will debut as Green Lantern. His inclusion suggests potential crossover or continuity with the Lantern HBO Max series. The story may also introduce or hint at supporting heroes and villains, further establishing connections across the DCU. With Hawkgirl confirmed as a supporting character, the film could set the stage for a future Tengarian invasion, a potential central storyline for a Justice League film down the line. If Superman succeeds, both critically and commercially, it's highly likely Warner Bros. Will pursue a fully fledged trilogy, the first since the Christopher Reeves era. Despite Superman's prominence in pop culture, the full cinematic potential of the character remains largely untapped. With a roster of iconic villains like Brainiac, Parasite, and Metallo yet to appear in live-action films, this new iteration presents an exciting opportunity to build a definitive Superman saga. Spin-off opportunities. The spin-off potential for Superman's world is enormous. Beyond Superman himself, there's room to explore compelling side characters like Lex Luthor, Lois Lane, and even Jimmy Olsen in their own stories. A prestige miniseries focused on Lois as an investigative journalist, or a darker character-driven arc chronicling Lex's rise to power could offer grounded counterpoints to the larger-than-life heroics of Superman. However, the challenge lies in making these stories feel essential. While a Lex Luthor series could risk feeling redundant, shows like The Penguin have shown that well-crafted character studies in super universes can work if handled with the same depth and tone. Even characters traditionally seen as supporting roles can carry a strong spin-off. Introducing the Authority and future conflicts. A particularly interesting development is the inclusion of the engineer and member of the Authority in Superman. Her presence may serve as early groundwork for the upcoming Authority movie. It's possible she begins as an ally before gradually diverging from Superman's moral compass, setting up a philosophical and potentially physical clash between idealism and utilitarianism. This dynamic opens the door for future crossover storytelling. Will Superman play a role in the Authority film? Could this tension lead to a broader commentary on what kind of heroes the DCU needs? The seeds are certainly being planted. Hawkgirl and Young Justice possibilities. Hawkgirl's appearance is another notable element, given that she appears to be one of the younger characters in the film. This could hint at a larger plan for a younger generation of heroes. Could she be the founding member of a future Young Justice or Teen Justice team? Or will she rise to become a key figure in the eventual Justice League? Her inclusion not only expands the mythological and cosmic aspects of the DCU, but also provides opportunities for emotionally grounded storytelling, especially if she is portrayed with the same nuance that made her a fan favorite in the Justice League Unlimited animated series. Potential for major comic book events. Looking further ahead, Superman could serve as the launching pad for large-scale adaptations of legendary DC Comics storylines. Epic arcs such as Kingdom Come, Blackest Night, Crisis on Infinite Earths, or even Dark Knight's Metal are rich with cinematic potential. While these stories may be years away, setting the foundation early through thematic build-up and careful character development is key. Smaller but equally impactful stories like Nightfall or For the Man Who Has Everything could also serve as standalone adaptations or elements of a larger narrative arc. The Cosmic Frontier and Warworld. With characters like Hawkgirl and Green Lantern already on board, Superman may mark the DCU's first real step into the cosmic side of its mythology. And with James Gunn having already introduced Mongal in the previous DCEU, it wouldn't be surprising to see Warworld or even Mongol himself appear in the future. While a Warworld storyline risks drawing comparison to Thor Ragnarok, the gladiator aspect was only a small part of that film. If executed with a distinct tone and narrative focus, Warworld could deliver something entirely fresh and uniquely DC. It all comes down to execution, but if Gunn delivers what we know he is capable of, Superman might just be the film that gets both critics and fans to believe a man can fly once more.